Welcome back to Wickedly Judged. I'm Rebecca, your host, and today we continue our deep dive into the case of Joshua Brazzel. If you listened to our last episode, you heard Joshua's story and the troubling details behind his conviction. If you haven't heard it yet, I encourage you to go back and listen. It sets the foundation for what you're about to hear. This episode, though, is about the people who are so often left out of the headlines and the courtroom. The children. Today, you'll hear from 3 of Joshua's sons. The first part of the interview is with Malachi. The second part of the interview will be with Gabriel and Ezrai. They're opening up about what it's really like to grow up with their dad incarcerated, how his absence shaped their lives, and what it means to carry the Brazzel name in a small town. Imagine growing up in a place where everyone knows your last name, and everyone thinks they know your story. For Joshua's sons, this isn't just a headline. It's their everyday reality. They face the pain of growing up without their father, the stigma that follows their family, and the challenge of finding their own voices in the midst of judgment and loss. In today's episode, you'll hear the emotional impact of having a parent behind bars, the challenges and stigma of living in a small, close-knit community, how they've coped with judgment, longing, and the search for answers. Let's listen to their voices, the voices that too often go unheard. Now grab you a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's begin.
I lived with my dad for a short period of time, actually. My parents were split, had been split for a good while, and I was living with my dad in 2008 before he got locked up. I can't remember when he got arrested, but I do remember I was there a school year and into the summer, and then I went back to, I call it my papa's house. I lived with him. I didn't actually live with my parent. I actually lived with a family friend. His name was Paul, but everyone in the family called him Poppy, including me, and that's how I'll refer to him. I lived with Poppy for, well, all the way up until he passed away. So my dad got locked up. I was not there when he got locked up. My little brothers, they were, and including my step-siblings, they were there too. I, on the other hand, went to my mom's the night before, but really, when I went to my mom's, I actually went to my papa's house because my mom was staying there. By a twist of luck, the night before they raided my dad's house, I went to my mom's, and so I didn't get to experience that. And this is 2008. I was born in 2003. Just trying to think here.
So that puts you about what, 5, 6?
About 5 or 6, yeah. I knew I was in Head Start, so yeah, I was about 5 years old at that time. I knew that I really didn't get told what had happened. I actually had to learn later on in life what had happened. But I just remember my dad was calling me from a strange number and didn't really understand why I couldn't see him. And I also remember going to a court hearing. I can't remember if it was the first one or one many, many years later. I usually get those two mixed up. But I just remember one day spending time with my dad, and the next thing I haven't seen him in forever. He's called me every day. We always talk constantly. He tries to keep a good relationship with me and my 2 brothers and my step-siblings too. Sorry, I am...
This is a lot for anybody to have to deal with, but especially a 5-year-old child to have to deal with this and then grow up and become a man without him there. Like, yeah. I totally get it. You know, I'm in the same situation with my husband. You know, he's been incarcerated for 20 years. My stepkids grew up without him. His youngest one was 4 years old when he got incarcerated, and he doesn't even know him. Like, they went to visits and everything, the twice a month thing that you're allowed to do, but you can't get to know somebody 2 hours a day, twice a month.
Right.
And it's hard.
Right. You see, in my case, I've actually visited my dad once, maybe twice. The first actual visit that I got to visit him was when I was 13 years old. I actually took time out of school to go and visit him. I was actually really excited because I hadn't seen him since 2008. This is 2014 at this point. I got really excited to go see him, and it was definitely emotional, especially because from his perspective, the last time he'd seen me, I was this kid still in diapers. Next thing you know, I've got a head full of hair and about as tall as him. It was super emotional. My dad's been moved around different prisons here in the state of Indiana. He's been to Wabash, to Miami Correctional, there's another place, Carlisle. He's been to Carlisle too. And we never knew where he was going to be, how long he was going to be there. So that's why we didn't really go and visit that much, because the moment that he'd get in this place and try to set up visitations, he would get moved from one section to another section. The next thing you know, he's being moved out of the facility completely. So we finally did get the visit, and that was in 2014. I just remember sitting at the table and just looking at this man, my father. I'm just like, I can't believe this is my life.
Right, for sure. Like, it's a lot. It really is. It's a lot for anybody to have to deal with, much less, like I said, a child to have to deal with. And then as you get older, there's things that he's missing out on in your life that he will never get back and you will never get back.
Right. The biggest thing that I really, really, really do wish he was there for was when my daughter was born.
Yep.
And he called. he definitely called. But I just don't get me wrong. It was the happiest moment of my life, experiencing birth. But I really wish my father would have been there, because boy was I nervous. I'm going at it pretty much alone.
Right.
And not the entire time, but part of the time I'm thinking, man, I really wish my dad was here, because I've got a lot of questions.
For sure. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're a first-time dad. At least he had been through it before, and could have been that support. But because, the police didn't do their job correctly, because they overstepped on so many different avenues of this case, unfortunately, your dad wasn't there, because he's sitting in a prison cell right now for something he didn't do.
Right. And that's one thing about the police in Bedford, in our hometown, Lawrence County. They're so corrupt. I mean, it is one of the most corrupt agencies in the entire state of Indiana. They definitely were not doing their jobs properly. It wrapped my head around why my dad, why my family, because it wasn't just my dad that they did their duties on. They also harassed my mom's side of the family. So I kind of feel like we've been targeted,
Right. And you might not be that far off, honestly.
Right. I mean, I grew up, especially, with my dad being incarcerated, I grew up with a funny relationship with the law. I've always stayed on the good side. In fact, the current city that I'm living in, I'm getting ready to become a volunteer police officer myself. I don't know.
Have you taken your daughter to see your dad?
We've actually not been able to go see my dad. It's not because the drive is far. Me and my fiance and daughter, we love traveling. He's been in lockdown. He went in lockdown last month. I didn't hear from my dad for months, and we thought something bad had happened, but he was actually on lockdown. I'm really hoping that we can see each other, and I really want him to meet Isla. That's my daughter's name.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. We send pictures of her all the time, and he tells us all the time how beautiful she is, how proud of us he is. And every time before he ends the phone call, he always says, I love you to both me and my fiance, and then he says, I love you to Isla. And just, he's selfless. He's a selfless human being.
Yeah, I got that impression of him when I was doing the interview with him. It was like we sat there and talked about different things that he wants to do to help people that are in his situation. And it was like, you're sitting behind bars and all you're thinking about is how you can help somebody else. That to me speaks volumes about the type of person that he is. It just amazed me, because there have been some people that I've done interviews with that are still mad, still angry, and hate the world. You know, why did this have to happen to me type of thing. And I never got any of that from him at all. It was like, well, it happened, and how do we fix it? And then how can I help other people fix it so it doesn't happen to them? And it's like, man, you're better than me, because I mean, I do this a lot and I talk to people a lot, but it's like sometimes it gets overwhelming and I'm just like, I hate the whole system.
Yep, it definitely is overwhelming. I will say that.
So let me ask you this. You said you guys lived in a small town. How was it growing up with the last name that you have, knowing what the police did to your dad?
Growing up, I really didn't have much problems. I kept good grades in school. I tried to make sure that my last name didn't dictate who person I was, and I just kind of kept to myself too. I kept to myself, and I just kind of, you know,
Did what you needed to do?
Yep. Let me catch my thoughts here. My mind's starting to race.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine.
I just did what I had to do, and I just try to stay on the good side of the law, especially knowing, like you said, knowing what the police had done. I didn't want to end up in a situation like that, so I stayed out of trouble. I didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't do any of the fun teenager stuff. I just stayed at home and stayed focused in my studies, pretty much. And when tragedy started striking the family about 4 years ago, that's when I actually picked up and moved with the remainders of my family. At that point, I just kind of left Bedford and left it behind, pretty much. I definitely didn't let my last name dictate who I was.
That's awesome.
Definitely am trying to create a more positive image of the Brazel's last name.
And you know what the great part about it is? The fact that you're going to be a police officer, you can use your experience to be a better officer, because you already know what you don't want to do and what is borderline illegal. Cops break the law too. I know people don't really believe that, but they do. Because of what you've been through, I honestly think it's going to make you a more caring and more observant police officer. You should definitely be proud of yourself, for sure. I don't even know you, and I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing. What does your dad say about it? About you being a police officer?
I actually haven't really talked to him about it that much. I keep letting it slip my mind. Because all the good stuff happening right now, and I'm celebrating him and his achievements at this turn of the case, pretty much. And I don't know. I haven't really talked to him about it.
So what do you think, as far as your dad's case goes, what do you think justice means to you?
On one hand, justice means the rule of law, but on the other hand, it doesn't mean break the law to put someone behind bars. And I definitely think are just flawed in that regard.
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, this is not the only case. I mean, there's hundreds of people out there that are like in my dad's situation or in a similar situation. It just baffles.
You can tell when the police illegally obtained the search warrant, just by the little bit that your dad told me. This wasn't the first time they've done it. They were able to get away with it before, who knows how many times. So it was easy for them to get away with it this time as well. And how many more after your dad has this happened to? Like, at what point does the attorney general step in and do an investigation? Like, you have a corrupt police department. Somebody needs to step in and clean it out.
Right.
Otherwise, they're just going to keep doing this, and more innocent people are going to go to jail just so they can have a great conviction rate. And congratulations, we're keeping the community safe. Aren't you proud of us?
Yep. I definitely know that right there. Well, all too well. I don't want to go into it too much, but I do know this. I don't know much about the chief of police there. To be honest with you, I don't even remember who the arresting agency was. I can't remember if it was actually city police, Bedford City Police, or if it was the county. I mean, growing up, I always had this negative perception of Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, because of what happened with my father. And not just only my father, but also the harassment that everyone in my family has gotten from them.
Right.
And, I mean, my uncle used to get stopped on the side of the road just walking down the street. The police would stop him and start questioning him, and the next thing you know, he's being handcuffed and put in the back of the cop car. And he's literally just walking down the side of the road. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
And see, at that point, when does it become police harassment?
Right, and it definitely was. I mean,
But nobody's ever going to say anything because, well, it's the police. They're doing their job.
yeah, you don't know the extenuating circumstances, but all that aside, you're harassed at this point.
Yep. All because of what the last name is.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
That's part of the reason why I got the drive lead effort. I mean, I didn't like their economic opportunity. My last name in that county is just tarnished.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, it's tarnished to the point where I had considered, I even brought it up with my dad at one point, considered changing my last name from Brazzel to my dad's grandparents' last name, which was Blackburn.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I considered changing it to Blackburn because, Brazzel just seems to be the evil word of the day there.
Well, yeah, don't you know? He's one of the biggest criminals that they've ever arrested.
Yeah, the biggest drug bust Lawrence County's ever seen.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder how much of it was planning.
Yeah, because back then, back then, Lawrence County they were definitely doing shady stuff. From shady prosecutors all the way to a shady sheriff. I mean,
yeah.
They were definitely doing they were definitely doing some stuff.
Oh, for sure. And you can tell by just how easily it was that they did this. Like I've read through enough cases. I've seen enough, unfortunately. And it's like, yeah, this wasn't their first time doing this. Somebody got a promotion out of this. I'm going to tell you that right now. Somebody got a promotion, and maybe a couple of somebodies got promotions.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Because biggest drug bust in the county, somebody got a promotion out of it. And that right there is why they did it, to get that promotion. They didn't care whether he was guilty or innocent. They didn't do their job and investigate the way they're supposed to. They cut corners. They obtained search warrants illegally. And then they want to say that all this stuff belonged to him. I don't believe it. I don't. I have no faith in the police, especially not the police in small towns, because everybody knows everybody and they've been doing it this way for years.
That's the key word right there. Everybody knows everybody.
Yep.
See, that's the thing that I always hated about living in my small town. Is you really don't know who I am. You know me because of my last name, so you automatically assume that I'm just the worst person. But in reality, it's the opposite. I always felt like the black sheep because of my last name, and I want to change.
Or you can embrace it and prove to everybody that you are more than that last name that they tarnished. Not that you did, not that your dad did. They tarnished it. The police department tarnished it. The prosecutor, the judge, they all did. They tarnished that last name. So embrace it, be proud of it, and prove to them that that last name does not define you. Just like you said, that it's more. You're more.
Right. You're right. I haven't really thought of it that way.
They did everything they could to break your dad. They're still trying to break him. So naturally, they're going to try and break you. They're going to try and break your family and your brothers. Y'all stand together, stand strong, and be proud of who you are, because you know in your heart whether your father did this or not. Be proud of the man that he is.
I definitely am proud. I mean, that man has made a lot of sacrifices for not just me, but the entire family.
That's what a father does.
Yeah.
That's what a parent does. They sacrifice for their kids. You know that. You're a father. You would do anything in the world for that little girl.
Yep.
And your father ain't no different. He'd have done anything in the world for y'all. I got that just by talking to him. Y'all were the most important thing to him. So the sacrifice of him being 18 years now, I think it was 15, coming up on 18 years that he's been locked up. He would gladly do it again if it meant keeping y'all safe. But at least there's still hope for his case. There's still hope for him coming home.
Yes. And that's what I always try to have hope. I can't live life without hope.
Yep, and that's what I told him. I said the minute that you lose hope that you can come home, you're done. That prison will break you. You have to always keep hope. There's always a chance. I mean, eventually his sentence is going to be over and he's going to get parole or come home or whatever. I mean, but he has a very good chance of getting his whole case overturned, his conviction exonerated. And granted, they're not going to be able to give him that time back.
Right.
But
And
you
that's the
will
big
have a
thing.
chance, and your brothers will have a chance to make new memories with him. And he'll get a chance to spend time with his granddaughter and any future kids that come along. You got to have hope.
Hope is what's driving me right now. That my daughter.
Best thing in the world.
Yep.
Best thing in the world. Well, I won't keep you. I thank you for talking with me today. Definitely a good thing. And keep the hope alive. And by you keeping hope, your dad will keep hope. It's going to happen. It is definitely going to happen. I don't doubt it for a minute. He will be home. And he will be able to make new memories with you and your family.
Trust me, I'll be there. The moment they say go home, the moment that I'll be there.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything less. And you be safe out there, too, when you become a cop. Be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure, because you got something really important to go home to every night. Your fiance and your daughter.
Thank you.
I have Gabriel and Ezra Brazzel on the phone. As you know earlier, we interviewed Malachi Brazzel, and the episode coming out this coming Thursday is Joshua Brazzel, which is their father. Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight?
We're doing good. Yeah, we're doing good.
I appreciate you guys coming on and talking to me. It's really interesting to show the other side of what happens to people when a wrongful conviction is done. So I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having us.
So just to give y'all a little bit of background, Gabriel was a year old and Ezra was 5 weeks old when their father was arrested. So they've pretty much grown up without him in their lives, missing all of the milestones that most parents get to share with their children. So I brought them on today because I just kind of want to talk to them and see how it has affected them now that they're adults themselves, growing up without their dad around. All right, so whichever one of you wants to start first, I just kind of want to know, did y'all get to visit him at all while y'all were growing up?
Frequently when we was younger, when he was Wabash, but since COVID, we haven't visited him. So probably I think he said around 6 years or so.
Probably a little bit more than that, though, honestly.
Yeah, probably a little more than that.
Probably 7 or 8 years, maybe. It's been a little bit. Because I think they haven't had visitations open for a while. There's lockdowns and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is that he's been on lockdown for a while. Do you get to talk to him on the phone at all?
Yeah, he does weekly calls. If not a couple times a week sometimes.
Well,
but sometimes it could be more than a week or so.
So how has that been for you guys, growing up with, weekly phone calls or, twice a month visits? How did that affect you as a child not having your father there?
I would say since we were so little, we was used to it. But speaking for me, it was always kind of different. Realizing when I got older, I wasn't gonna be able to do a lot of things I could do with what other kids were doing with their dad, like Father's Day and them visiting at the school and stuff. I never really got to experience that portion of school or childhood.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that too. But I feel I was young, so it was just kind of I didn't have him. But what Gabe was saying too is we didn't really get to experience that. But since we had our grandparents there, I was kind of in our fill-in parents. So I feel if we didn't have them, then we'd have probably nothing. But since we did have them, it's at least we had a little bit of guidance and got to know having a father figure and a mother figure growing up.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Now, in school, did you guys do good in school? Did you play sports?
Yeah, me and Ezra, we've played sports when we was younger, all kinds, but mostly here recently it's been mostly a focus on wrestling. And I'm going off to college now on 2 academic scholarships, and I'm going to be wrestling on the team in Iowa for a school called Ellsworth. So
that's awesome.
So I would say we do fairly well in school. And I'll let Ezra tell you about his.
Yeah, so he said how we played sports. We played baseball for a little bit, football a little bit growing up, and then as we got into about junior high, we just wrestled, and then all the way to where we are now. And I played football last year, but just focused on wrestling and whatnot this year, trying to get better and do better. And I feel I did pretty.
Now, did you guys get bullied in school at all because of your last name, or have you had any problems with people in town because of your last name?
I did have an unfair expulsion last year. Well, yeah, last year since we're going into school now. I don't know. It was she said, he said kind of situation. But other than that, I made pretty good grades, and then common sports and other clubs like, what is that called?
Sad.
Yeah, SAD. It's just like Students Against Drunk Driving and stuff. And then, yeah, I did pretty good in school, I feel like.
Now, did you have any problems with anybody in the town or police or anything like that just because of your last name?
I would say we never really experienced any of that. I don't think anyone, to my recognition, I don't remember anything like that.
Yeah, I never have either, so I don't think at least I remember and know of, I haven't.
Okay. That's good to know. What do you think about your dad's case?
I think it's completely unfair. Like, you look at other drug cases, they have nowhere as near time sentenced or anything like that. Like, I think he was telling me the other day, it's still like one of the most severely judged cases in like Woods County history or something like that for a drug case.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of crazy too how many years he got. I mean, I know it's not like a good thing, but it's also like people have done way worse and get by with it or get way less years. I think 50 is just absurd.
I have to agree with that. It was when I read the charges and then saw the time that he was sentenced to, it was like I was talking to my fiance on the phone about it and I'm like, is this for real? Like, seriously, this man got this many years? And he was like, well, what was he charged with? And I told him and he goes, that's crazy. I've never heard that. I was like, yeah, I've heard it from like cartel members. You know what I mean? That traffic across the states and everything else like that. I could see if it was federal time, but this is state time. And it just blew my mind that the courts let it go that way.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I just don't understand.
So, in your opinion, what would justice for your dad look like?
I would say justice would look like him getting out, and then I feel like you can get money for wrongful conviction, like how many years you've been in. I've seen that on previous, like other cases, not like just his, and other people have gotten stuff like that, like wrongful convictions, and they get compensation for their time. I think that would be justice for him, or even just like having him out, just being able to actually like see him, be around him.
Right. Yeah, because I don't think there's really a dollar amount that you can put on the fact that he didn't get to raise you guys. He'll never get that back. You'll never get that back. But I think you guys kind of have the same outlook. He's very hopeful. He has a very positive outlook on life, to the point that when we were talking, it was like, yeah, I want to get out and get mine overturned and then help other people. And you guys kind of seem to have that same personality that, I'm very skeptical of court systems. I'm very skeptical of the police. I do believe we need the police, but I think they need better training than what they're getting. But justice, absolutely. He needs to be compensated for the time away, but they have to understand, people out there need to understand, you guys will never get that time back. All you can do now is make new memories.
Yeah.
But I just, in reading through it and seeing that it was the biggest drug bust in the history of your county, but one thing that stuck out to me really badly was the amount of one of the drugs was 666.
Yeah, I read that too.
And it's like, that's just such an odd amount, but yet nothing was found at home, when supposedly their, what do they call it, confidential informant, 8-year-old boy, specifically said that there was drugs in the house. And then the parents suddenly say the same exact thing, but yet nothing was found in the house. And they even went as far as to steal electronics and then donate them to the police department. Like, so you broke the law by getting a search warrant based on no evidence, and then you steal from the person and donate it to the police department based on the word of an 8-year-old boy. But nobody bothered to look any deeper into the motive behind why this parent was saying his 8-year-old child said. I don't know. I just find there's a certain procedure that has to be followed, and I don't believe the procedure was followed from start to finish.
Yeah, I would totally agree. That's what it sounds like.
I think they made up their own rules, they made up their own laws, and then sentenced a man to the majority of his life for what? Because an 8-year-old boy said something? Do you guys ever see him at all?
Yeah, Keegan, he was a part of our life when we lived with our mom. We haven't seen much of him recently. He's reached out to us maybe in the past, within the past month, wanting to see us before I go off to college and stuff. I've always had a decent relationship with Keegan. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know.
How does that make you feel, knowing that he's the reason your dad is behind bars?
I'm not really sure. I feel like he has definitely a role in it, but I wouldn't say I completely blame Keegan for what he did, like what he said, you know?
Oh yeah, he was definitely coached. There was definitely an
Yeah,
adult
that's
telling
what I
him
was
what
about
to
to
say.
say.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, because you don't like know, like at that young of an age, you don't. He was just definitely told to say that for something.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Because I'd like kind of heard about that what he did, but it's like no, I don't think it's his fault. Like I don't hold a grudge or nothing about it. Because like he's not just coming up like, oh yeah, there's drugs in the house. Like even if he did know that, I feel like he'd be too scared or something to say that. Like because how young he was and like what kind of situation it was. But yeah, I think he was told what to say and that.
Okay. Well, that's good that you guys can still like talk to him and everything, you know, because like you said, he was an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, we don't hold any resentment to him at all.
That's good. That's good. I just don't understand this court system. Have you guys actually sat down and read everything that has to do with your dad's case?
No, I mean I've looked at like the article about it, but I haven't really dived into what was actually talked about during the case or any really deep details. Just like the amount of stuff that was found and like how many years he was charged.
Just the basic stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, honestly, when you have a personal connection to the person. It's kind of hard to sit down and read what people say about him when you know that that's not the type of person he is.
Yeah.
But
I would definitely say my dad has been a big role in me and Ezra's life than most people. Our grandparents, obviously, the most, but he's been there for us more than most people, sure.
That's good to know that even though, you know, he's fighting his own battle, he's still able to be there as much as he can, given the circumstances, you know, for you guys. And I know one thing Malachi said was the hardest, when it hit him the hardest was when he had his little girl and your dad couldn't be there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad because, like, as we get older, you know, me and Ezra have been playing these sports all our years, and he hasn't been able to see a single match or anything like that, you know. And he doesn't even know what we like really look like right now, besides like a photo I sent him on an app that we downloaded, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like the same thing with Malachi's little girl, like, because I don't think he's supposed to get out soon, which I don't think so at least, but the same thing, if you don't get out, like, the same thing's just gonna happen to her, so that's, like, not just, like, his children, but, like, that's, like, a whole nother generation of it, too, like, his grandchildren and whatnot.
Exactly, and this is how it happens. It doesn't affect just that person, and that's what I've tried to get my listeners to understand, is, like, there's family involved. Unless you are a complete loner, never dated, nothing, only child, your parents are dead, well then maybe not so much. But when you have a family and something like this happens, it affects you personally, then it affects your family, then it affects your friends, your community, and it just, the ripples keep going out. And like you said, it's now a whole nother generation that's being affected by it, because it's scary for a child to go into a prison and see their parent.
Yeah.
It's scary for a child to go in and see a grandparent, especially when you don't know them beforehand. So I get it, but it is definitely like it tears so many families apart. And look, you guys have grown up without even really knowing your dad.
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to go off to college, Gabriel, and you know, what does a dad do before his son goes to college? He takes him and drops him off at the college. You know, that's just what you do, and he's not going to get to do that, and that just breaks my heart for you guys. But it is so nice to see that you still have a positive outlook. You're still moving forward with your lives. You know, good grades in school. Now you're going to college on academic scholarships. Man, that is huge. You should be so proud.
I am, and it makes me happy knowing that he's proud too. He was telling me the other day about it, how proud he is of the men that we've become, you know. And it's sad, like, he won't be able to see a lot of stuff, like our milestones, like us walking, tying our shoes, you know, like playing our first sport, stuff like that, you know. Like, I was thinking about it too here more recently, like when I went to prom and stuff, like he never is gonna see any of that, you know. It's just incredibly sad.
It is, but at least you guys still try and keep somewhat of a close relationship with him.
Oh yeah, he calls us, and it's like always like a max phone call, which is like around 30 minutes. You know, which isn't enough to talk to him, but it's what we got.
Right. I completely understand it. Hey, at least y'all get 30 minutes. I only get 15.
Yeah.
Hi, bye. That's about all the time we get. Thank you. Have a nice day. Yeah, I know he's got some things in the works right now, and I know that they said he had to do at least 24 years, which he's got a few more years, not too many, and he'll be at that 24-year mark. What is the first thing that you are going to do with him when you find out he's coming home?
We've talked about some other things. I know he wants to take us fishing and hunting, but I told him that I think the first thing we probably got to do is get him a steak, some good food, because what he got right now is not the greatest food. But yeah, I think he just wants to be outdoors mostly, hunting, fishing, because me and Ezra, we didn't get to do that too much growing up, and that was a big part of his childhood and stuff, so he said he wants to do that with us.
Well, guys, listen, I won't keep you any longer. I really appreciate you guys talking with me today and just giving my listeners a different perspective of how wrongful convictions affect not only the inmate and the person convicted, but the family as well, and how you guys have matured and become outstanding men. And good luck at college, Gabriel. I think you'll do well. And if nobody's told you today, I'll tell you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I know I don't know you, but I'm proud of you. Because it could have... It really could have gone a totally different way with you guys. It really could have. I mean, you guys made the right decisions growing up that led you to where, you're headed to college now. And you're going to be going, next year?
It'll be this year in August.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could have gone worse, because I have firsthand experience with the other side where, woe is me, my dad got locked up and now I'm going to go down this path, So it's really refreshing to see that you guys have grown into outstanding young men. And I really, really am proud of you.
I appreciate it. It's nice knowing that.
Well, sometimes, people just forget to say the simple things. So, and like I said, I know firsthand what it's like. My fiance's youngest one was 4 when he got locked up, and he don't even know him. They have no relationship, and it breaks my heart. But
yeah.
It's nice to know that you guys do have somewhat of a relationship the type of relationship that you can have given the circumstances. And I really feel like he's going to be home soon and you guys will get to make a tremendous amount of memories together that the first 24 years will just seem like they never really happened.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to for sure.
Definitely. And as long as you guys stay hopeful, he will stay hopeful. Just remember that. But it was great talking with you guys today. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. If you just, want to say, hey, I talked to my dad today and he said this, I'm always here.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I want to give a huge thank you to Joshua's sons for their honesty, courage, and willingness to share what so many families are forced to endure in silence. Their stories are a powerful reminder that the consequences of injustice ripple far beyond the person sentenced. They shape families, futures, and entire communities. Before we close, I want to remind you that stories like Joshua's aren't just rare tragedies. They're warnings of what happens when we don't hold our justice system accountable. If today's episode made you think, please don't let the conversation stop here. Here's how you can help. Share this episode. If you believe in our mission, spread the word. Send this episode to a friend, post about it on your socials, and tag us. The more people who hear these stories, the harder they are to ignore. Follow Wickedly Judged. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, or wherever you listen. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to stay updated on new episodes, case updates, and ways to get involved. Support our advocacy. Check out our merchandise at wickedlyjudged.com. Every purchase goes directly to supporting our investigations, advocacy, and the fight for justice reform. Wearing our gear helps spark conversations and spread awareness. Get involved. If you have a story about a wrongful conviction or injustice, or if you want to help as a volunteer or supporter, reach out. You can email me directly at wickedlyjudged@gmail.com or call us 513-393-7452. We're always looking for passionate advocates to join this movement. And finally, never underestimate the power of your voice. Every share, every follow, every conversation helps build momentum for real change. Together, We can make a difference for people like Joshua and for countless others still waiting for justice. Special thanks again to Veteran Alliance for their support and to JP Verse of Versifier Records for providing the music that keeps our message strong. Thank you for listening, for caring, and for being a part of Wickedly Judged. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay hopeful, because nobody deserves to be wickedly judged.